Well, greetings again, everyone, and welcome. Great to see you all, and happy and hoppy Easter on this beautiful Easter Sunday. We'll just get to the... So my topic for this morning for Easter is reveal, release, and rise and repeat, plus from tomb to womb. So happy to have all of you with us today. And may I honor us on this Easter Sunday for either coming to church in person or being in your living room or office or dining room or wherever you are and joining us on Zoom. My experience with my ego, and you might remember the Wayne Dyer says that ego stands for edging God out. Sometimes my ego says, yeah, but I already know that. And we do. We do already know that. But some wise person, not me, once talked about the distance between the head and the heart. And so that's why we need to hear that again. And that's why we need to hear that again. And that's why we need to hear that again so that we ultimately feel that. And whatever that is in creating our greatest life becomes our experience. So again, I'm glad you're all with us today. Our theme for April is living everyday wonder and creativity. Sometimes it might feel like we're stuck. Nothing's moving. Nothing's happening. Why isn't this shifting? Why isn't this changing? I'm in a rut. The truth is, we're always creating. We're always creating either by design, this is what I'm choosing to experience, or default. Oh, I'm doing that again. Okay, so I just have to let y'all know that we have a very special guest with us named Boomer. Boomer is Boomer a Mastiff? Boomer is a Mastiff. He's about 185 pounds, a lot of dog, and my talks put him to sleep. He was with us a couple of times when I've been speaking, and all of a sudden there's some snoring coming from the corner. Thankfully, it was not one of the members or friends, it was the dog. So please know that if you hear a strange noise, it's not one of you snoring. I've just put Boomer to sleep, and I don't take it personally.
You've relaxed him?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, which is not a bad thing. Yes. So our thoughts are creative. Either, well, it's going to be another day today like it was yesterday, or we're creating something new. But our thoughts are creative and become our experience. So we know the story of Passover. We know the story of Easter. We know all of this. And what we know is that Easter is about rising from the tomb. It is about transcendence. It is about stepping into the newness. We recognize Jesus in this experience and every other experience in the Bible as the great example, not the great exception. Because Jesus said, greater than these things will you do. So we absolutely know that as Jesus did what he did, so we have the opportunity to do that as well. So reveal, release, and rise, we start with reveal. Oh, we start with Happy Easter, and then we move to reveal. So what's going on in my life? What am I happy with? What am I not happy with? What am I creating? What am I thinking about? What do I say about my money? Do I say I'm on a fixed income? Do we ever say that? May we not, no matter where we are in the scheme of things, may we never say we are on a fixed income, because if we say that, then the question is, who fixed it? If the universe, if spirit is the source of our abundance, then there is always the opportunity for greater good. But if we talk and think and complain about our fixed income, who fixed it? Interesting question. What do I believe about relationships? And a big one for me is, why does this bother me so much? Whatever this is. Do you have those? Do you have those buttons? I honor and celebrate you if you don't, but for many of us, it just really bothers me when you, and you fill in the blank. Why does that bother me so much? And is there something I can change about my beliefs about whatever it is so that it doesn't bother me? In this revealing, we reveal the truth of who we are, that we really are the essence, expression, and experience of spirit. That's who we are. We are God in physical form. How important it is for us to remember that. Revealing what our purpose is. Why are we here? What's next? What's next for us? And for those areas of our lives that don't work, revealing what must I change about myself in order to, and you get to fill in the blank. Because as we know, as the essence, expression, and experience of spirit, there's no place where this God, this loving, nurturing presence is not. So we're not talking God into doing anything. We're changing our belief about whatever it is. So what do I need to change? What belief do I need to change? What do I need to reveal in my life in order to experience whatever that is? In the revealing, we're rolling the stone away. The stone being all those old beliefs, those old stories, that old victimhood, all of those other things that have kept us from stepping into this and creating this greatest life. We have the opportunity to ask why. Now, if you've ever spent any time with a 3-year-old, 4-year-old, they ask why. All the time. You have to eat your dinner first and then you can have cake. Why? You can't go out and play in the street after dark. Why? But do we allow ourselves to ask ourselves why? Why am I getting so upset about this? Why isn't this working for me? Why do I keep experiencing this, whatever it is, over and over again? Remember that great quote from John F. Kennedy. Some men see things the way they are and ask why. I dream of things that never were and ask why not. So if there's an area of our lives that isn't moving forward for us, that we're not creating our greatest life yet, there's the opportunity to ask why. And then listen, because I was talking with a dear friend of mine the other day about this. It's just the most amazing thing when we allow ourselves to ask. I don't know why, I don't know what I believe about this. I don't know how to solve this, and allow the loving, nurturing presence to tell us what we need to know. In revealing, we allow ourselves to not judge by appearances. That's why we call this teaching metaphysics. It's beyond the physical. So we know that even though we can't see it, there's always something more going on. Like when you plant a garden, you put the seeds in the ground, and as tempted as you might be to go out the next day to dig them up to see why they haven't sprouted yet, there's something happening. When we do our spiritual mind treatment, our affirmative prayer, something happens. Something changes. Always, always, always. How important it is for us to not judge by appearances. I love this quote from the Sufi mystic poet Rumi. And don't think the garden loses its ecstasy in winter. It's quiet, but the roots are down there riotous. There's always something happening. And again, we're either creating something new and wonderful, or we're living by default. But it's up to us to ask and to reveal that, to roll the stone away and see what needs to be changed. The stone could be our stories about what happened in the past. Our stone could be our story about how life is. Just here to work and pay bills and die. Again, what do we really believe about our money? What do we really believe about our relationships? So we ask, and especially when some area of our lives isn't working, we can ask and then act on the intuitive ideas that come to us. So you remember the Easter story, and it's Sunday morning, and the women have gone and had their Starbucks, and then they come. I'm paraphrasing, of course, and then they come to the tomb, and preparing to roll the stone away, and it's already rolled away, and Jesus is gone. The experience went from a place of death and loss and mourning to a place of newness and great joy and possibility. So the opportunity, because I don't like the word challenge, the opportunity for us is to move from that place when there's a change in our lives. And I don't know about you, but my experience has been that the only thing we know about life is that things change. And when that happens, to move from that place of perhaps heartbreak, perhaps anger, perhaps bitterness, from the tomb to the womb. What are we creating? What's next for us? What's the next possibility for us? If you've had a life change, when a dear one made their transition, when a job situation went away, when a relationship, however that was, didn't wind up the way we expected, there is the opportunity to stay in that grieving process, that tomb. And it's important that we allow ourselves to feel that, but also to move forward into the womb and create something new and something more wonderful, because as we know, life always says yes for us. Will it be impossible? Life says, okay. Will it be difficult? Life says, okay. Will it be amazing and more wonderful than we could have imagined? Life says, okay. Because life, God's Spirit, the universe, always responds to us as we believe. So in this womb experience, we are planting those seeds and creating this greatest life for ourselves, because life always says yes. So we reveal, and then we release. We release what's behind the stone, the stuff in the tomb that no longer serves us. Do you do that? Those old stories, those old tapes, those old beliefs. Good God, I said old tapes not too long ago and was talking to a young crowd, and they looked at me like, what? Scotch? You know, the stuff on the sticky on the roll? It's just too depressing for words, but that's a separate story. If you've ever lived somewhere where it's cold, and I mean cold, not San Diego cold, but like Boston cold or Kansas City cold or Midwest or Northeast cold, you know that you go through months and months and months of the really cold with the windows closed and the heater on. And then there's a day. When we lived in Boston, we went for about 4 months of, dear Lord, it's cold. And then it was 29 degrees for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And then we had a 55-degree day. I know. And I worked in a skyscraper in downtown Boston, which was incredibly cool. And we wanted to take the chairs and knock out the windows so we could get the fresh air in. When we allow ourselves to reveal and then release, releasing the old brings in the opportunity for those new possibilities, for those new ideas. I'm not going to experience the wonderful new relationship, and whether it's an intimate relationship or a job relationship or what it is, until I allow myself to release and forgive the stuff from the old relationship. Stuff being a purely psychological term. You with me on that? It's about spring cleaning, releasing that which no longer serves us so we can move into the better. One of my favorite books is Clutter Busting by Brooks Palmer, and he talks about the experience of clutter or trash. And in the book he writes, trash or clutter includes the things that you hold on to that are no longer useful. These things may be worn out or brand new, but they are trash because they have lost their value. Such things no longer serve a positive purpose, and they certainly don't add to your quality of life. They are barriers to good, powerful, and necessary change. So in this releasing, we allow ourselves to let go of that which no longer serves us. Again, stuff, physical possessions, relationships that just don't work anymore, jobs that just don't work anymore, stories and beliefs that don't work anymore, in order to step into this greatest life. What do we believe about the number of times we've circled around the sun? Do you know that it takes 1 year? It takes 365 days for the Earth to circle around the sun. And many of us have circled around the sun a good number of times. What do we believe about that number? Do we limit it? Do we limit ourselves based on our age? Or do we celebrate how far we've come and celebrate what's next for us? It's our story, and it becomes our experience. So as we release that, we step into the greater possibilities. That clutter can also be the need for forgiveness. And forgiveness as a process, not an event. Back in the day, I used to think, well, just forgive. We'll just do it. Sometimes it takes a little longer than that. It's not a magic wand kind, okay, I forgive that. Sometimes it takes some time. And may we allow ourselves to take the time that we need to take so that we can release that stone and move forward. So again, what must I change about myself? What must I release in order to experience this wonderful new life? Sometimes there's a story that needs to be reframed. Friday, we remembered Good Friday and the death of Jesus. You remember the story in Luke 22 about Judas. Ever met somebody named Judas? I bet not. Judas was probably in the top 5 of the most hated people in the Bible, because you remember the story that he kissed Jesus on the cheek, and so the soldiers knew that that was Jesus, and they took him off to Pontius Pilate. But what if that had to happen? And by the way, it did. What if that had to happen? So my question for us is, what experiences have we had where we've felt betrayed, where we've had a Judas in our lives, and if we allow ourselves to pull back and look at it again, we find that that had to happen so this could happen. So we release that feeling of betrayal. We release that anger and that hatred and that judgment and recognize that that had to happen so this could happen. It's another stone that we can roll away to step into this next experience. So we reveal, we release, and then we rise. Remember the story of the phoenix in Greek mythology, the bird that gets to be a certain age and then hunkers down into the nest and is burned, I'm paraphrasing, and then rises from the ashes into a new experience. I'll bet in your life you've risen from some ashes. I know I certainly have. And I bet we will again. Because this thing called life is a process, not an event. And so we reveal, we release, we rise, and then we repeat. Because we keep doing this. And it's either the biggest pain in the neck, and I don't know why this is happening, or we can look at whatever it is from this place of wonder and awe and anticipation of, I don't know what's next for me, but I do know that I never walk alone. And so I experience it, I feel it, I accept it, I release it, and then I rise. Because the only thing we know about life, the only thing we know about life is that it changes. In the Bible, so often the stories start out with, and it came to pass. Because it did. It came, whatever it was, it came to pass. And so we allow ourselves to have this experience throughout. Because we're not done yet. We're not even close to being done yet. I'd like to close with a great quote from Ernest Holmes. We all have the ability to transcend previous experiences and rise triumphant above them, but we shall never triumph over them while we persist in going through the old mental reactions. So, what stones are we ready to roll away? What stones are we ready to release? Relationships and I believe we have a relationship with everything in our lives, with our physical bodies, with our money, with people in our lives, all of those things. What are we ready to release and then rise from into the next greater good? We do it every day. We do it every day. And there's the opportunity to do it every day, whether we choose to or not. So with that in mind, join me in the light for just a minute. So in the peace and the quiet of this moment, we allow ourselves to be reminded of our oneness with a God presence with one another and with all of life. And we come together in gratitude today on this beautiful Easter Sunday for this remembrance, the remembrance that we always have the opportunity to step into this greater life, to reveal, to release, and rise. Staying in the consciousness of oneness, staying in the consciousness of our willingness to ask, seek, and knock, so that we can experience this greatest life. The truth is, when we ask, we are told, and so we always know what to do when we need to know. So we offer gratitude for that, for the opportunity to be together today and take as our assignment for this week these 3 points, plus repeat. For our time together, for this beloved spiritual community, we give great thanks. And together we say, and so it is.